I'm Stephanie, Maggie's granddaughter, and Rick, her son, is my dad. Now, growing up, we lived on a farm, and it was my parents' house and my grandparents' house and my great-granny's house next to them. So I would usually run barefoot, of course, over to Grandma and Papa's house at least once a day. I was usually greeted by two chow dogs, Nisa and Bear, and Grandma, a lot of the times, was sitting on her red glider underneath the big tree, sometimes peeling pecans or peas. If I went inside, of course, without knocking, she was usually sitting in her chair reading her Bible or in her little farm kitchen cooking beans or sometimes weird stuff like pig's feet. They always welcomed us with open arms, and we were never a burden no matter what they were doing. They always loved to see us. Now, my favorite memories are Christmas Eves with the cousins, Shirley, Granny Hall. We would all pile into their little red farmhouse, and we would read Bible stories and eat yummy food. And Grandma always gave stockings, and the stockings usually just had fruit in them. And in Easter, we would play in the front yard, and Grandma and Papa would hide Easter eggs all over the yard. But they always hid a golden egg that had money in it. And of course, it was always very difficult to find. And eventually we all got warm and found the hiding spot, usually under a rock that Papa buried. Now, Grandma and Papa were not fancy people. Of course, they lived in that little red farmhouse, and I swear it was leaning a little bit. Papa drove an old black pickup truck with red curtains in the back, and Grandma drove a gray hoopty, and heck, they didn't even have teeth until like the 90s. I never heard my grandma cuss or drink a lick of alcohol, but boy, did she know how to love. I sent a text to my Aunt Michelle after Grandma passed, and I said, boy, she was so loved. And Michelle responded, it's because she taught us how to love. I also asked Michelle what her favorite memories of her mom were. And she said Christmas and birthday parties, because Grandma always gave great gifts, like a tea set and a big girl bicycle that had a little basket. And Grandma would help her figure out what items she wanted to put in her little bicycle basket. They said they were strict and structured, but were really kids at heart and loved to be silly. Grandma always had a way with kids to get them to laugh, and she definitely passed that on to my dad. Now, I remember when Grandma had breast cancer when I was in my teens, and I walked into the house, and of course, she was in her chair reading her Bible. And I was talking with her about her cancer, and she told me it was the most peaceful she had ever been in her entire life, fighting this battle with cancer. The last time I heard my grandma speak was a few weeks before she passed, and I'd always play her Alan Jackson's Amazing Grace. After I was trying to get her to say my name or say hello or say anything, she turned her head to me and said, Amazing Grace. So Amazing Grace was the last words I heard her speak, and it will stick with me along with all the memories for the rest of my life. I hope that one day I can be half the grandma she was to me. We will carry on the legacy her and Papa built, and we hope that we can always make them proud.